Hello, thank you for joining me for this video. Today I'm going to be discussing the breaking news regarding Michael Voris at Church Militant TV, where he has surprisingly resigned. And since then, his former colleague Niles has spoken out in her own video about it. And also we've had a letter from Church Militant, a statement rather, online which I'm going to read to you. By now you've probably read it and seen the gist of everything, but I wanted to add a little bit more commentary, a little bit more in the background of things, and hopefully give a word of encouragement at the end amidst maybe a little bit of tough truth maybe from my own take. Who am I to speak of anything or anyone? I'm not, but for a channel such as Church Militant doing all that it's done for so many years, there has been a little bit of controversy around it. And I want to address just a couple of things, the good and maybe a bit of difficult things to say. We'll see. You can be the judge of that and you can let me know in the comments. But for now, let's get started. Okay, so it came to my attention yesterday. My WhatsApp had a few messages from a few different sources. First of all, it was the Church Militant, St Michael's Media statement regarding Michael Voris and his resignation. I'm just going to read that to you first and then I'll tell you my reaction to it, followed by the Now Today videos regarding a little bit more about it from Niles' point of view, as well as Michael Voris himself finally addressing the storm, as he called it. Here it is from Church Militant. Fellow Catholics, Church Militant, St Michael's Media, was founded as a bastion of Catholic truth and a light to the faithful in hard times. This is why we are being fully transparent with you all. Michael Voris has been asked to resign for breaching the Church Militant morality clause. The board has accepted his resignation. We understand this is a shock to you all, but our founder and former CEO is stepping aside and focusing on his personal health. The board of directors has chosen not to disclose Michael's private matters to the public. The apostolate will be praying for him, and we kindly ask you to do the same. Church Militant St Michael's Media is just as positioned to save souls as it ever has been. There are more than 40 full-time employees on the cutting edge of Catholic truth, moving forward with renewed fervour. The apostolate will remain unwavering in its reporting and its commentary, defending Holy Mother Church from errors both inside and out. We appreciate your continued support and prayers. God love you, Church Militant. Now, of course, first reading that, there was shock, surprise, and then, of course, what has he done? What has been so bad that they've asked him to resign? And why? For breaching the Church Militant morality clause. Now, I don't work for Church Militant, so I don't understand what their morality clause is, but imagine it's something immoral in nature. Now, this brings me back to a couple of things I wanted to first say. I actually wrote to Michael Voris directly way back in 2010, 2011 maybe, round about then. He just started off on the media platforms. His own channel or his own page on Facebook was less than 5,000 members, and I remember receiving emails that when he had reached that and couldn't do any more, this is when it started growing. So right way back at the beginning, I got in touch with him for one specific reason. And that was because I was a seminarian in Rome and I was struggling with the environment, with the deceit, with the undertones, the whiff of everything I may have mentioned in the past, the intellectual pride, the femininity, you name it. It took its toll on me, and after 3.5 grueling years in that place, I decided to leave. And it was a more difficult decision to leave than it was to join in the first place. But I left empty after having the fire and the zeal and everything else that came with wanting to set the world ablaze for God with the Holy Spirit. It just ruined everything. And I remember writing to Michael directly, and he did get back with a short paragraph or two, just giving words of encouragement, which I took to be great and quite humbling that he did write to me. But then the years went on, and as I said, seminary became more difficult for me as well. And after seminary, I would still watch some Church Militant, and then other platforms came about. And it was all the garbage of the church. It was all the scandals and abuse crises. It was all about why bishops were silent about these things and promoting other things. And then, of course, one time Michael Voris even addressed Cardinal Dolan on his platform about bringing in the gay march at St. Patrick's Parade, only for Michael to then use that platform to open up about his own past, his homosexual acts and away from the faith and everything else. But something's, as much as that was a courageous thing perhaps to do, and then to give it back to Cardinal Dolan to do his part and be honest, I still sensed there was still a sense of pride in that, an ego, because he was so fighting the stance that, well, there, I've given it, now it's your turn. Like, he still wanted to win this battle. And that's where I first started noticing a little mixture of what Church Militant was doing. And I spoke to my spiritual director about it long ago, who is himself a good faithful priest. And he just says to me straight, who does he imitate? Now, this isn't coming at a personal dig at Michael Voris or anyone at Church Militant. This is just how people somewhere else around the world, watching their videos, all the accusations, all the bad media and stories of the Catholic Church, picking up the garbage and putting it out there. This is where it was with this one man in Scotland speaking to a priest. And that priest asked me, who does he imitate? Who do they imitate? And I didn't know where he was going. And he says, the accuser. Imitating like the accuser who accuses the people of God night and day before the Lord. Accusers. And I said to the priest, yeah, well, I do see that actually. I don't see a lot of positive promotion of the faith. I don't see a lot of other things happening. It is usually what I just see on Facebook. I didn't do anything else on their websites or paying into anything that they may teach as a study side of thing. But I got what he meant, but at the same time I argued back, well, if anything, is it not even as much as a necessary evil? Where else would the church be getting such pressure when the one thing they're so afraid of, which is basically, don't let it get out there, don't let it get on the news, the image, the image of the church, the reputation of the bishops, the cardinals, the pope, reputation of the church. And they get away with it for so long. So I would say Church Militant did have its place. But then as time goes on, one thing I realised is a very angry man, an angry seminarian, a man broken in two spiritually, mentally, even physically after seminary. One thing I realised in time, I only ever started watching Church Militant and other platforms when the stories, the headlines on YouTube, the videos on Facebook or wherever, it was all these bad stories. It was all about the evil, the scandal, the division within the church. And I realised quickly that that was serving one purpose. It was fueling the anger. It was fueling the depression, the anxiety, the bitterness that came. And all that came through a demonic influence, I would put it. I really would. And the question to that is, though, when you see, is it evil? Is it a necessary evil? Is it accusers? Do they have a place in God's will of doing what they're doing? I just have that personal experience for me. And after time went on, it's as if people arrived at the same place at the same time for those who I spoke about. And this is the first I've actually watched anything of Church Militant probably in at least a couple of years. And I ain't going to start watching much of them afterwards, because I've realised after several years, nothing good fed my soul. Now that brings me to the next part then, is one thing that I found quite amazing to start with, was the fact that in that statement, the board of directors has chosen not to disclose Michael's private matters to the public. That's the one courtesy they have not given any priest, bishop, cardinal, or even the Pope from anything I've ever watched. When they find something, they put it out there. Scandals, bad behaviour, priests that have been in clerical abuse situations getting moved left, right, and centre. Going to the airport that one time to surround one of the bishops regarding such matters that they were reporting at the time. Going right in the middle of the parade to Cardinal Dolan regarding the march with the gay community within St Patrick's Parade, and then using their platform to bring anything to light that they may have investigated. Why, therefore, would you not do the exact same thing of the same principle for the very same man who's been doing it for years to all the ranks of those within the church? It's a fair point to ask. Christine Niles, listened to her video today while at work. I'll probably rewatch it again just to get more clarity on it for myself. She made it clear she wasn't going to divulge those matters either. That was left for Michael, which she has spoke on, and I'll get to in a minute. But Christine did make it very clear how angry she was within the environment, and the fact that Michael did start missing all the prayers that he was supposed to be at every single day of work. It was part of the foundation of work, was the prayer life. And other things that came of a cause of concern that brought anger and a lot of other things, where Christine Niles has also left Church Militant. I still think she'd be a force to be reckoned with as she starts her new channel and takes on freelancing work. But then Michael did eventually come to the camera and admit a few things. Again, he didn't divulge any clear matter as it was personal to him. But again, it's something he's been doing for years for everyone else within the church of the hierarchy. But at the same time, I'm not saying that as a dig at him. It's something maybe just by listening, it's something if he ever hears this video he may take on board. Because I think this now is definitely a time where he's finally being humbled at the journey he's on. I, for one, could speak about how God's humbled me in recent years, during and certainly after seminary, putting you through that grinder, breaking you apart like the seed in order for that growth to come through, with Him doing the work, the full work. And that's what it is total surrender to God's will, in which Michael does admit that for so long, more or less, it's been his strength of avoiding certain things, which I pick up as deep wounded emotions, deep wounds that need healing, maybe even deliverance of certain things. If he's been trying to live off his own strength as well, that's always going to run out. And maybe now, for all the knowledge and academic criteria he may have done over the years, he's finally been humbled to the point in realising he's only a man, he's only a human, like each and every single one of us. And although this may come as a shock for many, I see it as a great time maybe for Michael. It's going to be difficult from what he's been putting out in the video, and obviously past sins and roots that have maybe a grip on him psychologically or spiritually or whatever, they're still needing to be dealt with. And it's great that he has taken the step to do. But maybe all of those at Church Militant, including him, may have a time to examine their conscience and realise, with what I fed back as one person, and what others have said to me, whether it's my spiritual director or others, what it is they're feeding us on the platform, and now it's coming back to them. And God will always get to the core of every single person, no matter how much good work you may do. So with that being said, I'll leave it all there with the group. Maybe if they come across this video, this comes from a place of peace and love coming from me. And I've noticed not many platforms yet have picked up any of this. And I just think if it was the same platforms having news on a certain priest of scandalous behaviour, or a bishop, or the next thing the Pope apparently does wrong in their eyes, they're so quick to get that out. Why is no one doing it with this? Now, of course, I don't call for an action of that to happen. This is one man that's clearly needing a lot of his brokenness healed, and the only person to do that is God. But it's food for thought if anyone is picking up my intention and what I'm meaning there. And in my own channel just yesterday, I began the 33 Days to Greater Glory, a consecration to the Heavenly Father through Jesus by using and reading through the Gospel of St. John, followed by prayers. And more prayers and things are going to come on the channel. So it'd be a great time maybe to dedicate our day's prayers to Michael for his courage in dealing with everything he has to deal with, and for our fellow brother to find peace, deliverance, healing, whatever it is God knows he needs, and that he'll be completely open and willing for God to do what he has to do. And that, I have no doubt, God will work in it if he does allow God to do it. So we wish you well, Michael. We're praying for you. I'll be praying for you. And for everyone at Church Militant that may have been feeling this rocky time for them, keep going. Don't let the enemy have his chance. Just try and think of putting a little bit more good spin on things for a change, if I say anything. But yeah, we're all praying for you, and it's just that last final word of encouragement I would like you to take. God bless.